When I was a little boy, my sister and I used to sit for long periods of time and talk about what we imagined heaven would be like. What would things be like after death? That is something every human being thinks about. What is death, and what does it lead us to? That is why we have the Great Pyramids, expressing ancient people's beliefs in what was to happen afterwards. The fact is that none of us really knows. None of us has been there. None of us has died. So we don't know for sure what is on the other side. I remember many years ago, during the height of the AIDS plague, I was ministering at the deathbed of a young man. The nurse taking care of him was a good Christian woman, rather annoying at times, but sincere and loving. She kept repeating, "It's okay, go ahead. It's going to be so beautiful there, so beautiful. Go ahead, it's going to be beautiful." The young man had no strength left, but with his last breath he sat up and said, "And just how the heck would you know?" He didn't say heck, and then he died. And now he knows. It has always been a big question. What is awaiting me on the other side? To some, it is frightening, and to others, a big adventure, the unknown. Even Jesus tells us very little about it. We don't learn a lot from him about death and what happens afterwards. A few glimpses are given, just a few hints at what is to come. He doesn't tell us much about death, but he tells us a lot about life. Today we hear something profound about life when he says, "To God all are alive." We are all alive because we are all plugged into God, all a part of God. Since God cannot die, neither can we. We are all alive as long as we are in God. We are all alive whether we are still on this planet or whether we have already left it. We are all alive in God. How could it be otherwise? God is the source of life, the source of love. If we remain with God, and we must, we remain alive. The grave can make no difference in that. Have you ever known people who seem not to be alive at all, even though they are still here with us on earth? I'm not talking about sick people, but about people who just seem to refuse to truly live. Some are seemingly afraid to live, afraid to love, afraid and timid in general. At the end of the 1920s, the President of the United States was Calvin Coolidge. He was an extremely quiet and timid man, and rather sour, they say. President Roosevelt's daughter Alice used to say of him that Mr. Coolidge must have been raised on pickles. He was known as Silent Cal because he never said anything. When in 1933, Dorothy Parker was told the news that President Coolidge had died, she replied, "How could they tell?" Yes, there are some people who never truly live. Those who are afraid to love are the ones who never live. Whether we know it or not, we are plugged into the source of life, the source of love, and as long as we live, we remain plugged into this divine source we call God. It matters not whether we are on this planet or have gone beyond the grave. We are alive. Let us realize the awesomeness of that life-giving connection with God. and with one another. Let us dare truly to live by daring truly to love. There is an enormous difference between walking the earth and truly living. To live, says Oscar Wilde, is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist, that is all. No, we don't know a lot about the world to come, nor do we know a whole lot about the world we now inhabit. But this we do know, to God all are alive. In God all are alive, for it is God who lives and loves in us.